The age of technology we live in continues to evolve by leaps and bounds every day. The leading names in the technology sector have fan bases like rock stars. All the announcements they make are followed with interest by billions of people worldwide. Nikola Tesla, who holds approximately 300 patents and is responsible for groundbreaking technologies such as alternating current, was one of the leaders of technological life. A Serbian-American engineer and physicist, Nikola Tesla, made countless advances in the generation, transmission, and use of electrical energy. He not only invented the first AC motor, but also pioneered the development of production and transmission technology. Despite the notoriety of his biggest rival and former employer, Thomas Edison, he never managed to turn his countless inventions into long-term financial success. In this video, we will tell you about Nikola Tesla's final message and his prediction for future generations, which emerged in old documents. Enjoy watching. Nikola Tesla was born on July 10, 1856, on a stormy day. The midwife, considering lightning a bad omen, lamented, "Dark days await this child in the future." Tesla's mother replied, "His future will be bright." Of course, she didn't know at that moment that her words were prophetic. His fluctuating popularity throughout his life has recently peaked. He is now more than an idol. Predictions about the technology of the future have placed Tesla in the position of a prophet. Today, the name Tesla adorns one of the most important technology companies of our time. Nikola Tesla had some mind-blowing predictions about the future, and some of them came true. As a child, he began to see images that caused him to be unable to distinguish between the real world and his imagination, and this continued throughout his life. As a result of these visions, he could imagine his inventions in great detail in his mind. So much so that he didn't even need to draw their sketches. 1919 article, he described how designs formed in his mind, that his devices always worked the way he imagined, and the experiments turned out exactly the way he wanted. He stated that there had not been a single exception in 20 years. Tesla attributes his interest in inventions to his mother. He said that his mother used to produce various small household appliances in her spare time. He had a photographic memory that allowed him to accurately remember and use an image in his mind, and he passed this ability on to his son. Tesla's father was a priest and wanted his son to follow in his footsteps, but he was interested in engineering. When Tesla contracted cholera at a young age, his father promised to send him to engineering school if he could survive. He miraculously recovered and started at Graz University of Technology in Austria from 3 a.m. to 11 p.m. Even his professors began to worry that he would die of exhaustion. Tesla had an extraordinary intelligence. He knew 8 languages and had the ability to do even the most difficult calculations in his mind. Although he started his education as a good student, he traveled around Europe and eventually settled in Budapest and started working as an electrician for a telephone company. Tesla's prediction of wireless data transmission came true with the invention of the internet. With Nikola Tesla's obsession with the subject, various theories and designs for wireless data transmission emerged. Tesla wanted to go further than Guglielmo Marconi, the first person to send a letter across the Atlantic in Morse code. He claimed that one day, wireless technology would allow the global transmission of music, video, documents, and telephone signals. While he never achieved this in his lifetime, his prediction came true with the development of the internet in the early 1990s. Tesla also coined the term pocket portable technology based on the idea of technology that can transmit pictures, music, and even video worldwide. This meant that he predicted the invention of the smartphone almost a century ago. "We will be able to witness and hear events as if we were there," he said, referring to today's cell phone technology. The interview was published under the title, "When Woman is Boss," that women would use wireless technology to improve themselves in education and business, and ultimately overtake men as the dominant gender. While it's difficult to make a direct connection between technology and women's social and political freedom in the last century, it's undeniable that women have risen to leadership positions around the world. Today, women use technology to raise awareness of issues affecting the entire female population globally. Tesla also drew attention to this issue with the words, "This struggle of woman towards sex equality will end in a new sex order, with the female as superior." In 1898, he exhibited his wireless remote-controlled tele-automaton at an electrical exhibition at Madison Square Garden in New York. This device was the first example of the remote-controlled toy boat we all know. and even today's drones. Tesla amazed the audience with this new technology he developed by utilizing the power of wireless communication, robotics, and logic. His 120-centimeter-long antenna boat was propelled by radio waves. Tesla began to think of various uses for remote-controlled machines. This led to the many remote-controlled devices we use in our homes today, as well as long-range weapons such as unmanned aerial vehicles and missiles used in the military. Many of the audience thought that the device was controlled by a small monkey inside. Believing that one day remote-controlled machines would have a big place in our lives, he said, "The development of the whole of humanity depends on what we get from the existing forces." Tesla believed that providing free electricity to people would be beneficial in the fight against poverty. For this reason, in 1901, he began building the Wardenclyffe Tower on the east coast of America to send radio signals across the Atlantic. The structure, also known as the Tesla Tower, was unfortunately never finished. Tesla's investors at JP Morgan were not happy with giving everything away for free. Therefore, the tower was blown up in order to save the money to be spent on construction. The world had to wait another 90 years to reach the internet. His tower began construction in 1904 in Shoreham, New York, thanks to Tesla's work on an electrical generator that could transmit energy wirelessly. It had a spherical top with a diameter of 21 meters and a height of 57 meters. Unfortunately, the US demolished the building in 1917, amid rumors that German spies were using the tower. In another interview, Nikola Tesla said, "As early as 1898, representatives of a large company that they build and publicly exhibit a motor vehicle that can operate on its own and perform many other operations," showing that he predicted today's electric cars and autopilot. Tesla dreamed of planes that didn't need fuel. This concept in his mind stemmed from the long-distance transmission of energy wirelessly. He stated that the propulsion of flying machines that do not require any fuel and will not be restricted by the rules currently in place on aircraft would be the most valuable use of wireless energy. He stated that people would be able to travel from New York to Europe in a few hours, countries would largely disappear, and that this would be an important step for the various nations of the world to unite and live in peace. He expressed his opinion on this subject as follows: "Wireless will not only make it possible for an inaccessible region to receive energy, but will also be politically effective by bringing together different national interests and promoting understanding rather than fueling conflict." In the last years of his life, Tesla worked on a particle beam weapon that he believed would end all wars. The weapon would be so powerful that it could easily destroy anything coming from the enemy, even from a very long distance. If every nation had such a weapon, war would be pointless. The idea of mutually assured destruction, Cold War. The parties with nuclear weapons did not dare attack each other, although the beam was not built, and the plans mysteriously disappeared. In an interview in 1933, Tesla talked about some concepts that seemed illogical at the time. "I think we can photograph thoughts. With some research I did in 1893, I became convinced that a certain image formed in the mind should produce a contrasting image that could be read by a suitable device on the retina. If it is true that a thought can be reflected by the image received from the retina, then it is only a matter of taking a photograph by developing the same property that a person envisions would be clearly reflected on the screen as soon as they are formed. And in this way, every thought of the individual could be read. That's when our minds will truly become open books." The concept of photographing thoughts took shape years later as the MRI device. Tesla's predictions did not stop there. In the following years, he predicted flying cars, which are currently being worked on. He said that the development of flying machines would be greater than that of the automobile. He stated that he expected Henry Ford to make significant contributions to this progress. Tesla also added, "Parking towers will emerge in our big cities. Roads will either be multiplied out of sheer necessity, or they will become completely unnecessary when civilizations replace wheels with wings," predicting that the parking and traffic problem will be solved. In 1882, he moved to Paris to work at the French branch of Thomas Edison's electric company. He started by installing interior lighting. Soon, the managers, who realized Tesla's talents, began to give him more challenging tasks, such as designing and building dynamos. He later began traveling around Europe to troubleshoot problems at other Edison branches. His manager offered him a job in 1884 to work at Edison Machine Works in New York. Tesla accepted the offer, but his money was stolen during the journey, so when he arrived in America, he only had 4 cents in his pocket. At first, Tesla had great respect for Edison. Edison was also impressed by Tesla. He is even known to have said later, "I've had very hard-working assistants, but you've surpassed them all." Admiration did not last long. The two geniuses disagreed on the best way to transmit and control electricity. Edison preferred direct current, a system in which the flow of electrical charge is unidirectional. Tesla, on the other hand, found alternating current, in which the electrical charge regularly changes direction, to be logical. More power can be transmitted over greater distances with alternating current. In other words, alternating current powers our homes and other large appliances, while direct current powers smaller devices like flashlights. However, Edison, who patented direct current, refused to work on alternating current because of the possibility of reducing his own sales. Regardless of how the story ends, Tesla left Edison's company the following year, 1885, to start his own electric company. In the dispute that broke out between them, Edison is known to have said to him, "You don't understand American humor at all." However, since the investors were not satisfied with this business, they decided to take over both the company and all of Tesla's patents. He could do this because Tesla had given his patents to the company in exchange for stock that was now worthless. Having lost his company, Tesla had to take a job digging ditches for $2 a day to survive. But things would soon turn around. In 1887, Tesla created an induction motor that ran on alternating current. This motor was able to convert electrical energy into mechanical energy most efficiently. Today, Elon Musk's Tesla cars also work with a similar motor. George Westinghouse, a major player in the electrical industry, showed great interest in Tesla's induction motor. Westinghouse realized that the motor could be what he needed to complete the AC system and compete with Edison's DC system. As a result, Tesla sold the motor patents to Westinghouse for $60,000 in exchange for stock and royalties. Westinghouse hired him as a consultant for $2,000 a month, which is more than $50,000 a month in today's terms. Thus began the War of Currents. Edison went to great lengths to discredit Tesla and Westinghouse. He secretly funded the development of the electric chair to show how dangerous alternating current was and to manipulate the public. The Edison Company was also publicly torturing animals. In 1903, they electrocuted the circus elephant Topsy with 6,600 electricity and filmed it. Despite Edison's plans, Westinghouse and Tesla continued to be successful in their work. In 1893, they made a lower bid than Edison and his recently founded General Electric Company to illuminate the Columbian World's Fair in Chicago. The 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of America was celebrated at the world's first fair. 27 million attendees could now see that AC was the future. Tesla and Westinghouse went on to win the contract to build the first hydroelectric power plant at Niagara Falls. The plant was a great success, providing enough electricity for the city of Buffalo, New York. But other problems began to emerge. Westinghouse's company ran out of money and eventually had to take on a $10 million debt. To save the company, he went to Tesla in 1897 and asked if the royalties could be reduced. No one believed he could do it, but Westinghouse believed and appreciated it. So Tesla tore up his contract without hesitation. Tesla voluntarily returned $12 million in royalties, worth more than $300 million today. If he had kept these royalties, he would probably have been the richest man in the world, and the first person with a net worth exceeding $1 billion. Tesla spent the last 10 years of his life at the New Yorker Hotel, his accommodation expenses. Despite all the struggles he went through and the successes he achieved throughout his life, he died in debt. Tesla's last letters to his mother were quite sad. Part of his 1892 letter reads, "My dear mother, all these years I have spent in the service of humanity have brought me nothing but insults and humiliation. I woke up this morning before dawn because I heard the beautiful voice I had been hearing in my dreams for a while. I'm afraid of losing my mind. Dr. Lionel about this because I don't trust him anymore. I heard he visited Mr. Edison 2 weeks ago." In another letter he wrote a few days after his mother died, he said, "This letter will never reach you, Mother. I don't know why I'm still writing when you can't read it. Rest in peace, Mother, and please forgive me for staying away from you. I won't even be able to come to your funeral. I received the telegram informing me of your death, and now I am full of hatred for the people who 2 years ago could not understand that electricity could be transmitted without wires. Now they believe me, but they will not be able to use my ideas for centuries. Someone burned down my laboratory in the city center. All my formulas and notes were there. They suspect Mr. Edison. I have become so indifferent that I don't even recognize myself. Maybe I would have been sad if this had happened before, but now I can't be sad, because I'm sure that someone is in control of my patents, that my discovery is not mine, and finally, that humanity is not ready for it. On January 7th, 1943, a hotel worker who entered room 3327 found the body of 86-year-old Tesla, who had spent the last 10 years there. His only food was a glass of milk and some crackers. One of history's greatest inventors passed away in seclusion and without a penny in his pocket. Tesla is the genius behind the functioning of today's modern society. Born on a dark day, he opened the door to bright tomorrows.